Styles and Genres of Music by Harvey Winter. So country music originated in the southern states of the USA in the 1920s. The states such as Texas, Alabama, West Virginia, to name a few. Its roots can be traced back to Southern American folk music and Western music. The chord sequences are usually basic 3-chord progressions. Most times it's the first, the fourth and the fifth chord, but there could be the minor sixth thrown in there as well. The instrumentation is mainly stringed instruments such as guitar, acoustic guitar that is, banjo, steel guitar, fiddle, mandolin, and they also, not a stringed instrument, but they put a harmonica in there sometimes as well. The drums were not part of the original instrumentation for country music because they were deemed too loud and not pure. The lyrical content in country music is quite simple and they tell a story. The lyrics are powerful and emotional, and the chorus is memorable, usually has a catchy tagline or a hook. The themes of country music can range from love to loneliness to drinking to patriotism. Country music tends not to have a particular texture. It could be antiphonic, where two or more voices interact. For example, Take Me There by Rascal Flatts. Let's play a bit for you. So you can hear the two voices there. Another texture is homophonic, where one line dominates, like a singer accompanied by a guitar. For example, Like My Dog by Billy Corrington. So obviously you can hear just the guitar and then the vocal line there. So a famous country artist is Johnny Cash. He wrote Country Boy, which is a good example of a country song. It features a, as I'm sure you're going to hear, so it features a simple, catchy tagline. That's like Country Boy, as you can hear there. It also features a very simple structure, such as verse, chorus, etc. So the next genre is pop. So in its modern form, pop music originated from the Western world in the 1950s and 60s, and it's derived from rock and roll. The structure for pop music is very simple, usually verse, chorus, bridge, middle eight, bridge or middle eight, sorry, and then usually a double chorus to end it. The chord sequence is also very simple for most modern pop music. It uses the same 4 chords. This is shown in a very good video by the Axis of Awesome called the 4-Chord Song, which I'll link in the description if you want to check that out. These chords are the first, the fifth, the minor 6, and the fourth. Or some other combination of those chords. Modern pop music's instrumentation is very hard to categorise. It can range from a standard band, such as guitar, bass, drums, possibly keys and vocals, but it could also be instruments like drum machines and synthesizers, especially in today's charts. The lyrical content, again, is hard to pinpoint. It could literally be about anything, but the majority of pop songs are about relationships. The texture of pop songs is usually homophonic, meaning there's no melody, meaning there is a melody, usually the vocals and then an accompaniment. So there are hundreds of successful pop artists, so I'm just using Shawn Mendes as an example. So his song Stitches was written by Danny Parker, Teddy Geiger and Daniel Kyriakides. His song Stitches did very well in the charts, probably because of the simple nature to the song, so I'll just play you a bit of it. So the chord sequence is the minor 6, the 5th, the 1st and the 4th. So as I said before, most pop songs are a combination of those chords. So the melody is exactly the same throughout the verses, and here's the chorus. So the melody again is very memorable and very easy to sing. Okay, so the next genre is reggae. So reggae music originated in Jamaica in the late 1960s. It features the bass and the drums are on the beat, whereas the rhythm section is syncopated and is off the beat, giving reggae its distinctive sound. The rhythm section is usually staccato chords and often played on the piano or the guitar, or sometimes some form of organ. Reggae features some call and response as well, so where a melody is played and then it is answered, if you will, by another melody. Reggae songs are often sung in two possible languages, so Jamaican English or Ioric, which is the stereotypical reggae language, where like me is substituted for I and S's are added on to the ends of words. For example, me feels like. The chord progression for reggae can vary. For example, in Bob Marley's Stir It Up, uses A major, D major, and E major, whereas in No Woman No Cry uses C major, G major, A minor, and F major. So there's really no set chord progression, or sit like pop. It could really be anything. The lyrical content in reggae is often about political and social criticism. However, in the later, more modern reggae music, singers tend to talk about topics like family, love, and socialising. The texture of reggae music, again, like pop music, is homophonic, so there being a vocal line and then an accompaniment. So, like the most famous reggae music is Bob Marley. So Buffalo Soldier is an example here. I'll just put it to the chorus. So that has a very catchy chorus line. So Buffalo Soldier. So it's very memorable. They also have a melodic bass, which helps the bass have more presence, but it also gives the guitar or the organ more presence as well. They also have a very laid-back tempo. There are very few reggae songs that have a tempo over 120 BPM. So the final genre is rock and roll. Rock and roll originated in the late 1940s and early 50s. It's derived from a combination of blues, jazz, and gospel music. In the late 1940s, the piano or the saxophone was the lead instrument, and then in the 1950s, the lead instrument was replaced with a guitar. The drum beat is basically a blues rhythm with a more noticeable backbeat, and this provides a strong snare drum. The classic rock and roll band is one or two electric guitars leading the rhythm, a string bass, like a double bass, but after the 1950s, this changed to an electric bass guitar, and then a drum kit and vocals. Rock and roll music has been seen in like many TV shows, movies. Grease is probably the most famous example of this. The lyrical content of rock and roll is often about love and relationships. The texture of rock and roll can vary, however, like many genres, it's usually homophonic. The melody is sung and the accompaniment played by the band. Probably one of the most famous rock and roll artists is Elvis Presley. He's probably the most famous artist of the 1950s, 1960s. He's commonly known as the king of the rock and roll, or just the king for short. So I'll just play one of his songs for you. So this is Jailhouse Rock. So it was written by Jerry Lever and Mike Stoller. It starts with a simple chord progression and a simple rhythm, and then the walking bass line is also present. This bit there. It's also a very simple vocal melody and rhythm. The structure of the song is heavily blues influenced, with the lyrics rhyming in an A-A-B-B pattern. Okay, so that's rock and roll. Now, country music is typified by a simple structure and homophonic texture. It's centered around a major scale and a simple lyrical structure. Similarly, in rock and roll, it has a homophonic texture and a simple lyrical structure. However, that is centered around a pentatonic scale, and it has a 12-bar structure. In reggae music, you won't tend to find the 12-bar structure. It's usually a three chord or 4 chord structure. However, you will find the homophonic texture in a lot of reggae music, as well as the simple structure of the lyrics, that is. It is possible to find the 12-bar progression in pop, but again, once again, pop music is very difficult to typify. It isn't centered around a particular scale, and is usually in a 4-bar chord progression. Okay, thank you very much. That was my presentation on the stylistic and different genres of music.